People think that entrepreneurship is all about the business.
That's not true. Absolutely not true. Once you know yourself, who you are, what do you want, what you already know within yourself, you will definitely be successful. That I guarantee you.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Personal Development for Entrepreneurs. In today's episode, we are talking, or rather exploring, the path to self-discovery. In today's episode, we're going to be looking at questions like, what is self-discovery? Why should anyone embark on this journey, and how to go about it? And with me, we have Dr. Venga, the perfect person to be discussing this or exploring this topic on. Good evening, Dr. Venga.
Good evening, Ikram. Good evening. And good evening to all of you who are listening into this program. Yeah. Yes, Ikram, please.
So, Dr. Venga, self-discovery, that's a huge topic to be covering. The first question that comes to mind actually is, what do you mean by self-discovery? Are we talking about discovering what I'm good at, discovering my skills, or introspecting within? What exactly do you mean by self-discovery?
See, Ikram, I was fascinated in the beginning when I began to learn to read and write, that some of the books I read about the British Empire discovered India, discovered America, discovered Malaysia. So I used to think to myself, how can you discover something that already existed? No?
Yeah.
I mean, how is that possible? I mean, millions of Native Americans lived in America. How can you discover something 20, 30, 40, 50,000 years ago? They already discovered it. No?
Yeah. Something that has already been discovered by
exactly.
people. That's right.
Exactly. So how can you discover something that's already there? No? It was later on in life that I paid a lot of attention to this discovering yourself, and that's how I developed this tool, the three tools which I use, which is write, process, and review. Okay, process include goals, no? So write, process, review. I personally discovered that, and I used it, and in that way, I also discovered this thing of self-discovery. To explain that, I must explain one very simple word, which a lot of people don't pay attention to, Ikram, which is discipline. If someone, you see, from the very beginning of my life, I had the greatest of discipline in whatever I did, whether eating a food, talking to someone, doing something that I did not know how or what to do. Also, I will go in with both my feet, my everything I got, like having been swallowed into that. Like if I give you another example, like a tiger eats a goat and makes the goat part of the tiger. Like you get swallowed and you are part of the tiger. Have you seen a snake, as an example, catching a mouse deer or something like that and swallowing the whole thing inside, including the horn, everything else, right?
Yep.
Making it whole. Now, this is important. Discipline is like that. Unless and until you are 100% committed to whatever you're doing, you're not the disciplined person. And I later in my life, as I went on in life, I begin to see how this discipline helped me to become who I am. So to me, I don't have to be better than you, but I have to be more disciplined than you.
That's right.
Give you
That makes sense. Yes.
give you an example. If I attend a meeting, I am more disciplined than everyone sitting there, including the chairperson. I'm prepared. I come there, and then I'm not going to criticize anybody, anything, It's just that I have to be disciplined enough to say the right thing at the right time and leave the meeting and don't gossip about it afterward. This as one of the disciplines. In life, you see, this discipline does not exist in human. Look at all the chaotic situation in traffic that is there in our country today. Malaysia, as an example. Look at the way the motorcycle, the Grab motorcycle, the Shopee motorcycle. Do they have discipline?
Many are lacking in it.
Sorry, Ikram. I have not even found one. Now you are being polite. But nobody is, including drivers driving their car, just coming in like that. Discipline seems to be lacking in human. And yet this discipline is the key to self-discovery. That's the one thing. So remember, discipline. The second thing that is important is that we have these 5 senses: our eyes, our ear, our nose, our mouth, and our hand. These are survival instruments that came with us.
Yep.
This is what we came with. It was not, none of these were working when you were inside your mother's womb. The moment you came out, it is activated. You begin to see, you begin to smell, you begin to taste, you begin to touch and feel everything. These are survival kit given to you, your eye, your ear, your mouth, and your hand. You understand? Now, what does this survival thing that you have in you? You see something, you hear something, you smell something, you taste something, or you touch something. You form an impression. You don't see the thing in whole. You capture an image. That's why they say vivid sense of memory. And then it's stored in your memory.
Correct.
Now, the human is so clever that a slight, if the eye saw an image or it saw a certain thing, automatically it goes to a memory and then brings the memory around, and then you work with the memory. You're not working with what is in front of you.
Mm-hmm.
Even if you see the same plant, your memory takes over. So actually, in a sense, you have forgotten there is a, like I'm seeing you, Ikram, now. You are alive. I'm alive. I'm talking to you. Okay? Yep. And when I see you, Ikram, you are different from what you were when I saw you the last time. If I rely on my memory, I will see you as you were 1 week ago, 10 days ago, 10 years ago. But if I drop this memory and take the memory away, Ikram is not like that, it's different. If only I tell myself Ikram is different, then I'm seeing Ikram very differently. Then I see Ikram as you are today, this moment, your emotion, the way you think, and the way you are expressing yourself. I see you, Ikram. I am not relying on your memory, on my memory. Now, this is the key. This is why I said discipline. You must constantly get the discipline right. Every time you see something, you rely on your memory. You have survived up to now in life, and you'll survive through until you reach the cemetery. Relying on your memory. That's why the word perception was developed. You perceive something, but it is not real. Those who use this word perception, sometimes they have learned a new word and then they use it very freely without knowing that while they say, no, 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 that's the way you perceived it. They themselves are perceiving you as they saw you 1 week ago, 10 days ago, 10 years ago. Because each one of us have the memory and we rely on the memory. Like for instance, you drive from one place to another place. Do you ever follow the road sign? Or is it memory that is taking you there?
If it's a known direction, it's memory.
It's memory, right? So in other words, we use our memory 90% of the time. Very rarely do we use our what we see and then what it is. That is the discipline one must have. It's important for you to understand that, because why? Based on those two things, what you perceive goes in your memory, and that's a memory that's overriding everything. Unless you keep a distance between your memory and what you see now, you will never see things as real. So a lot of time, our own memory gives us the false impression, and we form opinions and say things based on our memory, which is old. As an example, I say this to you all. I hope you don't mind me saying it. When you meet your wife after this session, or your children, look at them closely, and for one small moment, ask yourself, am I seeing my wife the way she was a week ago? Or am I seeing my wife now as she is now? Then you will discover that she's different. In a conversation with you, in the way she is, she was not the same person as of yesterday. We are changing every moment. We don't see the changes. Self-discipline and self-discovery comes together. You can only discover yourself if you go back to your memory and ask a simple question. Was it like that? Or did I imagine it to be like that? Or is it real? When you start to ask this question, automatically your memory will fade away, and then your intelligence will come up. See, Ikram, what I'm saying is a very complex thing. But because we are so unconscious in whatever we do, we don't see things the way they are. That's why on this week plan, I tell people it's a self-discovery that you have to discover yourself. The moment you discover yourself, by just paying attention, in other words, paying attention to yourself, to your inner self, you will actually discover that what you have perceived may actually be not the way it was or it is. That discovery only will come if you yourself realize that what you see now and what you saw the last time we met, I am different, you are different. And this is, it's not very deep, it's a simple thing. Very simple. Otherwise, we are always back. We are living on the survival mode, which is impression that we get from our eye, our ear, our nose, our taste, and our touch. Most of the time, we live in the unconscious part of us, not the conscious. That's why everyone is now rushing towards India to get this consciousness thing, It's a fact. It's a fact. This existed with the Indians thousands and thousands and thousands of years ago. This is the civilization. And this civilization has developed this very much so. No? So if I may just say again, self-discovery is about discipline, is about self-awareness. Okay. And this self-awareness comes only when you are actively engaged with whatever you're doing. That requires discipline and to be very conscious of whatever you're doing. And the more conscious you are, the more disciplined you become. The more disciplined you are, the more you will see things better. So you don't have to be smart. All I ask you is be disciplined, even in the food that you eat. When you see the food, something will tell you, no, this is not what you should eat. No? You should stop it. That is discipline. You see, Ikram, people have cats and dogs and all that, okay? You throw some bad food at the cat or dog. What do you think the cat or dog will do?
It's not going to eat it.
It won't eat it, right? How come a dog or a cat whose intelligence is less than a human know the difference? And we as human, we have lost it. How come? How come we have lost this? We have lost it because we are living our life very, very unconsciously. That's why this self-discovery is important. The moment you become conscious of your own self, you will begin to discover more and more and realize that the way you see this is not the way it is. It's different. And then what happens? Your memory will fade away. Only when the memory moves away will your intelligence surface. I give you a physical example of it. You know, if you cut your liver up to 75% of your liver, the liver will grow back.
Yes. Yeah.
Any medical doctor worth will tell you this is it. But do you also realize that if you have a coronary block, as an example, if there is a slight block, the heart or the coronary vessel, the small vessels, has the capability of becoming a larger blood vessel. It will do it by itself. Are you aware of that?
No.
You better be aware. That's what happens. It develops vessels to go around it. If there's a block, it can go around. So does your kidney. So does everything in your body that you are using. Find another way. It is so intelligent. And you don't even recognize it. I don't even, well, I recognized it a long time ago, but you think about yourself. A simple example, if you bleed, if you cut and bleed, do you try to wash it and clean it and tie a bandage over it, isn't it? But if you don't, within about less than 2-3 minutes, it'll stop the bleeding by itself, isn't it?
Yeah.
Unless it's a major artery. Am I correct or not?
That's right. Yes.
And even major artery, you hold it. Just put your thumb and hold it completely. Stop the bleeding. Okay? Okay? And what do? They put a tourniquet and stop the bleeding, isn't it? Even on the main vein. And then try to stitch up the vein, right? Yeah. Isn't it? How does it do that? It has an intelligence of its own. Like, for instance, let me explain this intelligence. If you eat a wrong food, even though your mouth do not recognize it, your throat don't recognize it, goes in your stomach, the stomach automatically makes you vomit, isn't it?
That's right.
Why? That means the stomach got intelligence, right?
Absolutely, yes.
So am I talking something that you don't understand? You do. Even if the bad food passes through your stomach and gets into the intestine, automatically the whole system let it go and you will have a massive diarrhea. Yes or no?
Yes,
Is that intelligence?
definitely.
Definitely. So am I explaining myself? So there's a lot of intelligence inside us, which is doing its work. All we got to do is to go inside, not out. Outside is just perception, is imagination, is all those nonsense that we appreciate. No? We are very important what kind of shirt I wear with the logo, no? Maybe from Gucci or something like that. We don't care what is inside us. No?
Correct.
What stupid human beings we are. Inside us is the intelligence. Okay? So this is important. Self-discovery is about recognizing that what you know is just an impression. It's not real.
Mm-hmm.
And because it's not real, we are always wanting to go there. Because why? The entire world, the Western world wants you to become a consumer. Look at all the atrocities that are happening around the world. Man. Is it because of what? Greed, isn't it?
That's right.
I have to be the greatest. The white race is the greatest race, right? The rest of you humans are my slave, right? Yeah. Think about it, okay? All I'm saying is we have the intelligence to know the difference, and we are not exploring it inside us. We are just taking whatever is outside. That means our senses are survival tools that we have: eye, the ear, the nose, the mouth. These survival tools is useful. It is necessary. But when you come to discovering anything that you discover yourself by going inside and by simply asking a simple question. Hey, is this real? Or is it what I saw last week, last month? Write it down and examine it. No? If you think about it just like that, it won't happen unless you sit down and write. Which means that you are examining your own memory. It's when you start writing, your memory will go to that particular spot. And then as you write, you are rewriting what is in the memory. And then you begin to realize, hey, that's not the way it is. So what is it then? And you begin to find the answer. This is how you discover yourself. Self-discovery.
Mm-hmm.
Is it easy? Ikram, is it easy?
I don't think it is.
It is.
Not many people have discovered themselves.
Correct. But you know what, Ikram, I must say this. In the last 2 years, I have met individuals, and I must say that of the, I think, 88 people that I've met in the last 2 years, every single one of them, including one, very recently also, was able to discover themselves. Every single day I talk about this to people, and everyone I talk to have discovered themselves. So that's why you have chosen a subject which is very dear to me, because that's how I discovered myself. If I did not wanted to learn how to read and write, I wouldn't have discovered myself. And that pursuit of life started at that time up to now. I'm already 82 years old. And still I'm amazed at the things I see very differently from other people. When I talk to them about it, they think, oh my God, I never saw it that way.
Mm-hmm.
The haha moment comes. Almost everyone I'm in contact with, is able to discover himself or herself. And so what is the secret? There's no secret. It's inside you, except that I'm giving you a very simple way to do it. No?
Yep.
A very simple way. Okay. There are many more methods which are very difficult ones. If you want to take that road, please do. You remember I used to talk to you about the 16 parts of the brain, which you can divide into 4 parts and all that.
Yes.
You know, Ikram, nowadays it's available in Google now. You go to the image and type the word, the 4 parts of the mind. Boom, all the thing will come out in a big circle. Yes, it comes already there. So, you know, the internet has made it easy for people to understand. But how many of them are seriously looking at it themselves? This is, I told you what is necessary. It's necessary for us to understand what we see, what we hear, what we taste, and what we touch is a perception that we have recorded now in our memory. And unless you take out your memory and look at it, you are not going to change anything, man.
That's right.
The secret to your success is discipline. That discipline you must have. The more you search inside you, the more you begin to realize, hey, this is not what it is, no? Yeah. Then you know what? Automatically, the answer will come. Hey, why don't you try this way or that way? Provided, Ikram, provided you are willing to take the next step to try it, even though you have never done it before. You must try it. If you don't try it, then it's a waste of time. Thinking useless. Your experience is your gift, which you develop yourself. And that is yours. But it's not you, it is yours. And because it's yours, you go in and you can make a difference. Hey, maybe it's not like that, no? So you are improving it all the time. One step at a time, one step at a time, one step at a time. As easy as that, I'm telling you, Ikram. What more can be easier than that? I've not discovered it yet, Lan.
So, Dr. Venga, you're saying that the path to self-discovery is through discipline, right?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. How do you go about developing this discipline? It's not easy, discipline, and you're right. I've come across this many times. You know, sometimes we see motivational talks, listen to and we say we are motivated, but motivation only gets you so far. What happens on days when you're not motivated? It's discipline that takes you that distance, right? But it's something not easy to develop. There must be a way. How did you develop discipline?
It is actually quite easy, Ikram. You see, discipline comes to people who want to do it. See, a lot of us, we can talk about it, but we don't do it. It's by you doing it, you not only develop whatever you are doing, get the experience, but also develop the discipline to do it. Mm-hmm. Discipline is something that is intelligence is part of the discipline. You don't want it, it'll remain there. You have to activate it. How do you activate it? Do it again and again and again. In everything that you do, you must want to do it and do it. You remember long time ago, I talked about plan, you know, PDs, plan, do, check, action. You remember? Yep. PDCA. Yes. You plan it, you do it, you check it, and then another action, right? This is discipline. Doing it over and over and over again. Do the same thing over and over and over again. This is discipline. So the same thing is like this. I mean, you look at it and superficially, yeah, I know. No, you don't know. Go inside. What is it? Is it different? This is discipline. This is what I'm telling you. The teaching discipline is like, hey, is it the same? No. As I told you just now, look at your wife and pay a little attention. This is not the same person I knew yesterday. This is different. I got to see the difference. Discipline. Your daughter, you can see your daughter's change every moment, but you never see the change in your wife because you are working on your memory, whatever image you have inside you. But you drop that image and say, no, I want to look at my wife differently. I want to see what is she that has improved in her, or something is not right, whatever it is. As long as you're doing that, that is discipline. Is that difficult to understand?
No.
Ikram, it's like this. It is, as I say, it sounds so simple, right?
Yeah.
But it is that simple, no? Pay attention and do it again and again. Because, we read a lot of books and we go to a movie, we go to seminar, we do all that, okay? And then, as you said just now, after we leave the hall, we also demotivated. Why? Whatever you listen, if you tell yourself, this is what I will do it, and you do it, and you do it, and you do it, and you do it, then you will develop the discipline. And then, like me, you will stop attending any one of these seminars and all that. You realize that actually you're not a disciplined person. You ask me the question, when did I discipline myself? I started disciplining myself the very day my teacher told me, you must come up when the sun rises. Before the sun rises, you must be in my house. And you can only go back when the sun go down. Is that a discipline or not?
Yes, definitely.
That's what the whole thing started. And to write the damn A, I took 1 week. It was a discipline.
So you're saying discipline is in paying attention to everything you're doing and in repetition, keep doing what you're doing over and over again.
Yes.
Okay.
And that's how you discover discipline.
Yeah.
Now, do you wake up by your clock, or do you wake up by your time in the head?
It depends. There are times where it's by the time in my head, but I always set an alarm. So sometimes it's by the clock, sometimes it's on my own. You
will develop that skill if you pay attention to, before you go to bed, just close your eyes and say, I have to wake up. Imagine you getting up at 6 o'clock. Yes. Just imagine the 6 a.m. in the morning, and voila, at exactly 6, you'll wake up. I never woke up with an alarm. I never did. It's a discipline also. Money. If people who can't manage money is because they do not have the discipline to manage money. People are in debt because they don't have the discipline of money management. If you earn 1,000, you want to spend 1,400 because a credit card gives you some leeway to screw yourself up. I mean, every financial institution is there to screw you up, no? And you allow that to happen. And you blame the credit card company. No, blame it. Wait, when you are earning 1,000, don't spend 1,400. Is that discipline or not?
Yes, that is.
When you eat food, are you eating more than what you need? Of course you are. All of us do that. Discipline also. See, when the stomach is telling you, I have enough, you don't listen. Because it's tasty, you put 2 more spoons inside. Discipline, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
So why is it so difficult to develop discipline, Ikram? Why?
I think like what you just highlighted is because we live unconsciously. The paying attention is key here, right?
Yes, yes. Again, because the whole world is undisciplined, it is easier to do what they are doing than to do different from them. You want to be part of society. You want to be part of the social norm. Hey, everything has to be done in that, because let's meet for what? Oh, just sit down, chit chat. Why? Chit chat. Why? No reason. Okay, you keep that to yourself. I'll discipline myself not to go. That's why I am what I am. You can say that I'm living in a cave and you have no information about the world. Thank you very much. But I am a very disciplined individual. If I say something, I will make it happen. Isn't that your experience?
Yes, definitely.
Okay. So like that, Ikram, discipline immediately brings out the best in you, no? The very best in you. And people don't realize that. Your anger is also discipline, Ikram. When you are sitting and people are saying some rubbish things, which you don't like, it's a discipline to put on a smile, not absorb what they are saying, but to realize how ignorant are the people. Just smile. No need to sit down and give a long lecture how to change. It is not your place. It is not your place. But just absorb. Then you know the difference between you and the rest. See, you look at the whole country as a whole, what is lacking in us? The discipline, right?
Yep.
If only we are disciplined, then everything will turn out differently, right?
Correct.
Correct.
That's right. Yes.
People advertise, people want to do all sorts of things to coax you to spend your money. Then why are you doing it? Because you're no discipline, right?
Yeah. So, Venga, we have 2 more minutes. I'm going to try and just quickly summarize, and then I'd like you to add your final thoughts. So you're saying the path to self-discovery is actually discipline. Being disciplined allows us to see things as they are. That means what's actually blinding us sometimes to seeing things as they are and ourselves as we are is the 5 senses, which then gives us memory, and memory is not always reliable, right? So we have to develop discipline in order to see ourselves the way we are. And the path to developing that discipline is to work by paying attention to everything that you do, all the details, and repetition, doing it over and over and over again.
Repeating it over and over.
Have I summarized this correctly?
Yes. Add one more thing to that. And this process that I'm talking about is not a journey. It is not a journey. The distance between you and what you need to do is time. Time has got no distance. It's between you and yourself. There's no journey. There's not a journey to go there. It is there with you. It's between you and time. So allocate some time to do this discipline. Look at yourself. Sit down quietly. Why are you doing things impulsively? Why? These are addition to what I've said, Lana. You need time to manage yourself. You need time to understand that you are not a disciplined individual. You need time to understand that you are not you're taking out old images, like the photograph of yourself 25 years ago and looking at it.
That's right. Yeah.
Add the time element to whatever you said, and you are there already.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Dr. Venga. This has been quite helpful. So there you go. The path to self-discovery is to stripping yourself of the past memories and looking at yourself, especially the way you are today. That requires discipline. And in order to develop discipline, pay attention to every little thing that you're doing and do. As Nike's logo says, just do it, right? And the path to you discovering yourself, that distance from where you are to discovering yourself is time.
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Venga. So that wraps up our personal development for entrepreneurs episode today. Our next episode is happening on the 4th of May. It's the first Wednesday of the month, as always. We look forward to seeing you then.
Good night, Vikram. Good night. Good night.